You are operating under a false assumption that is slowly dismantling your potential. It is 6 p.m. You have just finished a grueling day of decision-making, navigating corporate politics, and managing crises. You are mentally drained. You look at your gym bag sitting in the corner of the room, and you calculate your energy reserves like an accountant looking at a bankrupt ledger. You think you have nothing left to give. You tell yourself that skipping the workout is the logical choice, a necessary trade-off to preserve what little energy you have for your family or for tomorrow's work. You believe that training today would be a withdrawal from an already overdrawn account. This is the zero-sum energy trap. It is the belief that your energy is a fixed resource in a bucket, and every time you lift a dumbbell, you scoop some out, leaving less for the rest of your life. This logic is sound for a battery. It is sound for a fuel tank. But you are not a machine made of copper and lithium. You are a biological entity evolved to adapt to stress, and by treating yourself like a battery that needs to be conserved, you are inadvertently signaling your body to shut down. You are feeling tired not because you have done too much, but because your physical system is stagnating. The heavy barbell waiting for you is not a drain. It is the only switch capable of turning the generator back on. To understand why you are exhausted, we must look at the engineering concept of antifragility. Most systems in our world are fragile or robust. A glass is fragile. If you stress it, it breaks. A steel beam is robust. It resists stress up to a point, but it eventually wears down through fatigue. Mechanical systems degrade with use. If you drive a car for 100,000 miles, the engine does not get stronger. It gets closer to failure. This is why you are afraid to train when you are tired. You think you are a car with high mileage. But biological systems obey a completely different set of physical laws. Biological systems degrade with disuse and upgrade with trauma. Your bone density relies on the impact of the heavy iron to signal the osteoblasts to lay down more calcium matrix. Without the crushing weight of the squat bar across your traps, your skeleton becomes brittle. Your muscular system operates on the same premise. It requires the micro-trauma of the heavy lift, the tearing of the myofibrils under tension, to trigger the overcompensation mechanism that builds capacity. When you skip the gym to save energy, you are removing the stressor that tells your body it needs to be capable. You are signaling to your physiology that the demand is low, so it lowers the supply. The lethargy you feel is your body optimizing for a sedentary existence. The only way to break this cycle is to introduce a stimulus so potent that your body has no choice but to upgrade its energy production. That stimulus is the cold, hard reality of the iron. This brings us to the first pillar of our reconstruction, the mitochondrial demand signal. Your body is ruthlessly efficient. It will not produce energy that it does not think it needs. If your daily physical demand involves sitting in a chair and walking to a car, your body downregulates its energy production systems to match that low output. It is simple supply and demand. By avoiding the workout, you are crashing the market demand for ATP, the cellular energy currency. You need to create a crisis of energy to force an upgrade in supply. This is where the deadlift becomes a medical intervention. When you walk up to a bar loaded with twice your body weight, grip the knurling until it digs into your calluses, and generate the immense intra-abdominal pressure required to break the floor. You are sending a panic signal to your central nervous system. As the plates leave the platform and the strain travels up your posterior chain, demanding every ounce of oxygen your blood can carry, your body realizes its current energy baseline is insufficient for survival. You are forcing your cells to build more mitochondria, the power plants of your body. You cannot negotiate this with affirmations. You must feel the physical weight. You must feel the terrifying heaviness of the bar in your hands. That sensation of heavy resistance is the language your cells understand. As you lock out the rep, lungs gasping, heart hammering against your ribs, you are not draining the battery. You are expanding the capacity of the battery. You are teaching your body that high output is the new normal. If you are enjoying this breakdown of biological engineering, take a second to like the video so we can keep building this library of strength. The second pillar destroys the idea that mental fatigue and physical energy are the same resource. They are not. What you feel after a day of work is not a lack of fuel. It is a toxicity of stasis. Stress produces cortisol and adrenaline, chemicals designed for movement. for fighting or fleeing. When you sit still while stressed, these chemicals accumulate in your bloodstream like exhaust fumes in a closed garage. This chemical buildup manifests as that foggy, heavy exhaustion you feel at the end of the day. You don't need rest. You need a system flush. This is exactly what the high-volume training session provides. Imagine you are under the bench press. You unrack the weight. The steel hovers over your sternum. You begin the descent, controlling the weight, feeling the pectoral fibers stretch under the load. You press up, exhaling sharply. 1 rep, 2 reps. By the 10th rep, the lactic acid begins to accumulate, a sharp burning sensation flooding the muscle belly. This physical acidity is the antidote to the mental toxicity. As you push through the 12th rep, forcing the blood to pump violently into the muscle, you are literally circulating the stagnant chemistry out of your system. The burning sensation in your triceps, the shaking of your arms as you struggle to rack the weight, this is the cleansing fire. You are swapping the dull ache of mental stress for the acute, sharp reality of physical work. The gym is your dialysis machine. You walk in carrying the poison of the day, and you sweat it out onto the rubber floor. You cannot think about your email inbox when you are trying to stabilize 100 pounds over your head. The sheer physical focus required to control the iron forces your brain to switch gears, flushing the mental RAM and clearing the cache. You leave the gym physically tired, yes, but mental clarity returns because you have finally used the fuel that was stagnating in your veins. The third pillar is the concept of structural load capacity. In engineering, if you have a bridge rated for 10 tons and you drive an 11-ton truck over it, the bridge structure is overwhelmed. It shakes, it cracks, it feels like it is going to collapse. This is how you feel when life gets hard. The problems of your life, financial pressure, relationship issues, career demands, are the truck. Your mind and body are the bridge. If you feel overwhelmed, it is not because the truck is too heavy. It is because your bridge is rated for too light a load. You are trying to solve this by making the truck lighter, doing less, hiding from responsibility, skipping the workout to relax. This is the wrong approach. You cannot control the weight of the truck. Life will always be heavy. You must upgrade the rating of the bridge. This happens in the squat rack. When you position yourself under the bar, settling the cold steel across your upper back, you are voluntarily accepting a crushing load. As you descend into the hole, your knees tracking over your toes, your core braced like a stone pillar, you are teaching your nervous system to handle pressure without collapsing. The weight tries to fold you, gravity tries to pin you to the floor, but you drive back up. You fight the resistance. You stand tall against the oppression of the iron. This is not a metaphor. This is physical conditioning for psychological resilience. When you spend an hour fighting against physical gravity, the psychological weight of your day feels lighter by comparison. You have recalibrated your scale of difficulty. A difficult email is nothing compared to the fear of being crushed by a failed squat. By strictly adhering to a regimen of heavy resistance training, you build a structural capacity that makes the normal stressors of life feel insignificant. You stop being a fragile structure that needs to be protected from stress, and you become an anti-fragile fortress that uses stress to reinforce its walls. We must conclude with the synthesis of this protocol. The trade-off you fear does not exist. The time you spend in the gym is not lost, it is multiplied. Every hour you invest in lifting heavy weights returns 2 hours of high focus, high energy capability to the rest of your day. You are rejecting the entropy that defines the average man. The average man protects his energy and slowly rots. You spend your energy and grow. But this requires a shift in identity. You must stop seeing yourself as a container of finite resources and start seeing yourself as an adaptive engine. The only way to keep this engine running is to run it hard. You need to feel the knurling on your skin. You need to feel the contraction of the muscle until it cramps. You need to hear the clatter of the iron plates hitting the floor. These are not just sounds and sensations. They are the inputs your system requires to function. If you are ready to stop conserving and start constructing, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below with the word ANTIFRAGILE to confirm you understand the protocol. We are building a brotherhood of men who refuse to decay. Now look at your reality. You are tired. Good. That is the signal. That is the demand for an upgrade. Do not sit down. Do not negotiate. Pack the bag. Go to the gym. Grab the bar. Crush the weakness. Go train.